I call to order the City Council meeting of the City of West Jordan for May 6, 2025. All council members are in attendance tonight. This is a special council meeting that we have tonight to receive the mayor's proposed budget. However, to start with, we will have public comment available for those that are here that would like to do public comment. Tonight, I will start with the people that I have that have... Nope, not tonight. So tonight, we will start with the public comment card. I have Christy Spencer. If you want to come forth, we'll have you do public comments first.
It's not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda. Nothing fit for that.
Hello, Council. My name is Christy Spencer, and today it might be Karen. I apologize in advance. I've contacted the Council and the Police Department on numerous occasions over parking issues. And I realized I was here a few weeks ago when a group of other folks was here dealing with parking issues. Namely, in my neighborhood, it's a series of dump trucks that have decided to make their home in a backyard for more than 2 years. It was once supposedly handled with a fine and a please don't do that, and they're back. Few people have asked about it, nothing's been done, and it took me almost a year to get some neighbors parking perpendicular to the circle in a corner that were blocking my access to my property to get that moved. And I finally did after 9 months and a sarcastic and I thought well-written argument to Dirk. And he came out and went, yep, that's a problem. But it's a problem throughout the neighborhoods and not just ours. I'm sure in that last meeting, if y'all remember that whole neighborhood that came, I don't know if there's something that the community can do to help with it, but it doesn't seem like there's a follow-through in a lot of code enforcement, but the parking on the city streets is truly a challenge, from the houses that have 41 cars, to the ones that park out there when it's snowing, to the dump trucks, to the one we believe is actually trafficking people. So it would be helpful, and I know it's a growing and challenging situation in our community in general. I don't know how, as a community, we can help and bring these people up, but still allow for the safety. You cannot turn an EMS vehicle around in my circle if they are parked perpendicular on the curb. That's a safety violation, and I was watching on Halloween going, okay, kids, we don't have sidewalks either. So it really was a concern for me safety-wise, not just the inconvenience of not being able to get my own parking situation resolved and off the street, so I wasn't contributing to the problem. Some of you may remember me here with the Posse and with some other community outreach horse groups, and maybe there's something that we can do as one of those nonprofits to help in any way with this without being a burden or without being a Karen, but at the same time still see if we can address some of these issues that are partially part of a growing city but seem to be getting overlooked, and I do believe it's really quite a safety issue as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Next public comment, I have Rebecca Thomas. Come on forward.
Hello, Council. Here's my backstory. I'm Rebecca Thomas. I live in West Jordan with my husband and 4 kids. We've lived in the same home for 27 years, and our backyard is right up against Old Bingham Highway. So our subdivision's Wildflower Acres, and it's the farthest subdivision west on Old Bingham. So if you go farther west, it's all businesses and warehouses all the way to Copperton. So there's a meat processing plant, OSI. There's Interstate Brick, scrapyards, Oracle, Boeing, and Amazon all along Old Bingham Highway. And my issue is with the semi-trucks. They've been parking and running their engines right behind our homes. Yesterday was really bad. Mondays are the worst days. It seems like they're lined up. And there were 5 or 6 semi-trucks parked and running most of the day. They're very loud. We can hear them inside our homes. And it's like living at a truck stop. And our family enjoys gardening and barbecuing and spending time in our backyard with our kids and our grandchild and our dog. And the semi-trucks I guess they're lined up to load and unload at the warehouses and the businesses along Old Bingham. And they've even parked and ran their semi trucks overnight, and they just keep them running all night. And so I drove down Old Bingham, and there's plenty of no parking signs all down the highway, especially at Boeing and Amazon. There's no parking signs along those businesses. So all I'm asking for is a few no truck parking, at least signs, to be posted. Right behind, there's just 14 homes that back up against Old Bingham for our subdivision. And it's on the north side of Old Bingham Highway. So thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. We've got that information. Thank you, Rebecca. I don't know how many other people signed up, so for those that are here in the crowd tonight, if you'd like to come and give a public comment, please come forward and state your name and your city of residence. All right. Nobody else in the audience? Mr. Anderson, do we have anybody online that would like to speak?
There's one attendee online, and they have not raised their hand to speak.
All right, thank you. We will close the public comments for tonight's meeting, and we'll move to our business item, which is the presentation and acceptance of the mayor's proposed budget for the city of West Jordan for fiscal year 2026. And I invite Mayor Burton to come and give us our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm quite pleased with the attendance of the audience that came here just to hear the budget, so that's exciting. I'm glad you guys all came for this. Not only are they going to get an A in their class at school, but they're going to learn how to do finance better. Do I have control of this? Okay, so if we push the big round button. Ha, look at that. Okay, so here's our budget for fiscal year 2026. I am so excited to be able to turn this over to you because that means my work is now done and yours is just beginning. So thank you for taking this, which I hope is going to actually be the case today. I don't know that yet, do I? But just a little background so you know. We've been working on this for months. I put together a little committee, and this committee has Corbin in it, and me, and Denise, and Becky, and then I have and Paul, and they're all so good with numbers. They just do circles around me with their numbers, which is really nice. Then I have a couple of department heads that are on there too, and those department heads change every year, and that's a good experience for them because then they can see how they're not the only ones that have needs. The other departments do too, and they learn how to work together, and one department will give up some things for another department to help them accomplish what they want to do. So for months they've been doing that. We took the information from when we had our retreat and took that from what your focus is as the council. So I tried to get that on there. I know you're going to need to make some adjustments, but hopefully some of the things that you want to do are already in there. So this one, you can see that we're talking about our core services, and I'm actually going to talk about parking in just a minute too. And making sure we're taking care of what the residents' needs are, including parking, including public safety, and making sure that we're taking care of our employees. Our employees here work harder than any other city employees. Well, okay, I guess I don't know that for a fact, but I know they work very hard and they do a very good job. I don't know how the cities are doing. But they care about our city, and they're working very hard to make our city work. And so helping and taking care of them shows that we recognize what they're doing for us in this work, and we're making it happen. So this budget will strengthen our core services. It'll provide support to our employees. It will make sure that our infrastructure, as we have been doing the last few years, not just roads, but water lines and sewer lines and things like that, are happening in our city. And we've been making fantastic progress on that, and we like to keep that ball rolling. Not to mention our public safeties. You can see they're here today, watching out for us. And so we are looking to the future when we do this. Sometimes I see people's comments on Facebook saying, they don't look to the future. We really do. In fact, I drove down that new 90th South Road today between 111 and 6400 West. Not much traffic on it, but I drove it. It worked out nice. We've increased our population in the city quite a bit. Less proportionately, we've increased the amount of employees we have in the city. Now, the amount of work we do has increased more than the amount of employees that we have. They've been doing a very good job keeping it up on there. And is that they help keep our infrastructure going and happening. I was talking to somebody from another city who was complaining about how they went without water for 3 days because they had a broken water line. When our crews go out there, they don't go home until they get that water back on. They don't go home at night and come back the next day like they did in this other city. That's what our employees are like here. And we are supporting our community in lots of ways by keeping those services going and in the committees that we have going in the city too. Our passport office right here in West Jordan has been phenomenal. We have great attendance there. It keeps happening, keeps going. So as a result of that, this budget is going to include another part-time agent to help meet that demand. And that means we're adding money into the budget, but it also means we're bringing more money in to cover that. The amount of money we get in is more than what goes out to pay for that person. So that's a plus for us. I heard somebody say one time, I could do some things to lower that budget. Well, my goal isn't to lower the budget. My goal is to find more resources to bring into the city to meet the needs that the city already has, which actually raises the budget. So I want to make sure every penny that we can, we bring into the city to meet the needs and provide the services that a city is supposed to do. And as you're very well aware, the Good Landlord Program, we're going to be making some changes there because you had discussed that. And to meet those changes, it will require additional staff. So once we do that, this budget also includes that additional staff person. And for parking, that's been a real issue in our city for years. And when I talk to the police department and tell them about the parking issues, sometimes Chief Valentine gives me a list of what's on the call screen at the time. And those are some major things where the police officers should be. And parking is way down here, as it should be. So my goal, and I appreciate you making it so it doesn't have to be a sworn police officer in order to do parking control. So I like to bring in 2 new service community officers, and their full main purpose will be to enforce parking rules, to take care of these semis over on Old Bingham Highway, to get these cars that are parked wrong in the circles. Now, they're not just going to be 9 to 5 type, because a lot of people come home at night and park illegally at night and create issues. So that's why I want 2 of them, so we can do different hours and make it work that way. And that way the police can focus on what they're trained to do. It's like when you go to the doctor. You go in there, someone else takes your blood pressure and checks your temperature. Then you see the expensive doctor that does it. Here we'll have someone else to do the forcing for the parking, and the police officers who are skilled and trained will take care of the bigger deals. So that's included in there. You're welcome. Also included in this budget, I need to keep push the button. I'm used to Warren doing this for me, so, is improvements on the roads. We've done a lot of great work on 13th West on the first phase. We're now getting ready to do the second phase as soon as some nice company gets out of the way. We'll start doing that on there. 7800 South has made great progress. It's looking really good. When that gets done, we're going to have 5 lanes from one end of the city to the other end of the city on 7800 South. 8600 South, we were on the bridge and had that party to celebrate that going over Mountain View Corridor. Now, what we want to do is take it from that 6400 West all the way to U111. We are working, people complained for years about going east and west. So we repaved 6200 South, which didn't give us more lanes, but made driving a lot better. We're doing this on 7200 South, which will help east and west. We did that 90th South extension. Now we just need to get that other piece connected in through there, which will go from mountain to mountain on that highway, and then the 8600 South extension. So those are some great things that we're doing there. Not to mention 13th West, which, as long as I can remember, we talked about improving 13th West, and now it's finally happening. So phase 2, and then we'll get to phase 3, and that will be done, and people will live in harmony for the next 2 or 3 days until the next construction project comes. Okay, included in this budget, we're doing lots of maintenance work. We've had discussions in the past about falling behind on street maintenance. We're doing some things, and this budget includes some things to help catch us on there. One of them is this mastic machine you can see right now. We would like to purchase a mastic machine which pours and paves a small area like this right here that fits the travel lanes where most of the traffic happens, and it costs less than repairing the whole road, which will give us a couple more years until we end up doing a mill and overlay on those roads. So that's included in there. We're looking for another road maintenance engineer. We are behind sometimes because of our staff not being able to provide the services we need to get that happening. So we have that included in this budget. And I mentioned the gap machine. We also need a hydro excavator. That is a fancy term for a super giant wet dry vacuum. And then park maintenance. I was at a meeting not too long ago when people were talking about the condition of our parks. Our parks have been improved the last few years, but there's more things we can do to improve it. So we're looking at some more ways that we help improve the parks. So that's also included in this budget that you'll get from today. Community identity projects. So the Ronwood Park on the athletic fields, that is going to be the big focus today. You know, we got the extension on the soccer fields for 2 years till 2027, so it's important that we get this work done at Ronwood so we can get that going. We're starting the phase 2 part of our Wheels Park, and then the upgrades at the Veterans Memorial Park. The stage is almost complete, but we have some other things, such as adding some pickleball courts and some other things in the Veterans Memorial Park to help take care of our residents there. Of course, our biggest expense is on public safety, police, and fire. And our fire, we're including this budget, is add a new firefighter position. And what this will do is help reduce the overtime we've been having, because we have exactly how many we need. So anytime a firefighter is sick or gets called out because they're in the reserve, or other things that come up, or we get calls out and we go out to California and help, we end up doing overtime. So this will help reduce the overtimes by doing that and help keep our staff maintained at a full cruise all the time. And then we also want to include in here, we don't want to, I did. We also included here new cardiac monitors and defibrillators, because the others are old and outdated. So we looking to replace all those, to replace the aging units. I've talking to some employees from another city, and they were saying they have not received a cost of living raise for like 3 years. Fortunately, you've taken care of our employees in the city, and I thank you for that, and they thank you for that. Even though the cost of living raise is a small one for this year, I've included a small cost of living in there to take care of our employees, because they do such a good job taking care of us. And that helps them feel important and needed, and it helps keep them wanting to stay here and work, and improves the work environment. Not to mention when you come and see them at the little picnics and things, like that makes their day. So thank you for doing that too. As a city, we have been very conservative with our budgets. We have provided balanced budgets for multiple years, and this is another year that we want to make that happen again. And at the same time, we keep money in reserves, because we don't know what the future is going to bring. There's always some questionable things that are going to come up, and we don't know what they are. We want to be prepared for those. So this budget is quite conservative, and it takes things without expanding beyond our ability. If a catastrophe comes, that we're ready to handle it. And if it doesn't, then we can take care of the needs that we have as we're going. So it reflects our values, and it helps us to look forward to long-term things. So thank you for the input you provided from you and from staff, that we could put this together and work on this. West Jordan, some great things are happening, and the ball is rolling forward. You've funded lots of great things, and you've put these places in there, and we want to keep those going. once you accept this, I know you're going to do some work. There's some personal things you may look at you want to do. I've tried to include those. You'll see when you get the budget, there's a couple of other items that I thought would be good to fund that are not funded in there. You'll see that in there, and you can see if there's a way we can still work that and make that happen. Together we can do that. If you will be needing staff, I'll be inviting staff to come here so you can share information with them. If it would be helpful if you have questions ahead of time, you could share that with them ahead of time, so when they come to meetings where you're discussing the budget items, they become prepared and help preserve your time and give you the answers on a shorter basis so they can move forward on that. And of course, Denise will be at your disposal, as is Becky, to help you in working through that out. And my binder, I asked him to make my binder exactly the same as yours. So when you come up with in other meetings and you have questions on there, I can turn to the same page you're turning to and look at the same paragraph and follow along with you as you do that. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me before I begin my party when you get to start doing the work?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure we're going to have lots of questions over the next few weeks.
I'm sure you will.
So I would like to open up any time to any council members that have any comments. But if not, then we will move forward and accept this from you.
Thank you for being exceptional.
We need to make
Councilmember Green.
Do we need to make a formal motion to accept
I was
it?
told we don't need to. So
Okay.
if anybody does not want to accept it, let me know. If not, this is our acceptance tonight. Okay. Consider it accepted. That's a good way to put it. Thank you, Councilmember Jacob. All right. Well, at this time, I will just let everyone know that we still have we have 3 more meetings over the next few minutes. We have a MBA, a Municipal Building Authority meeting, an RDA meeting, and then we have the Committee of the Whole afterwards as well. And so at this time, I will adjourn our City Council meeting for tonight.
You love that, don't you?